Hello everybody, we are going live again today, so thank you so much for being here, thank you for listening. It's going to be an amazing one today, yet again. We've got my good friend Ife Thomas coming over, or Ife Thomas, I can't even pronounce it then people, so yeah, no, thank you so much for showing up people. I see we got a few faces coming in already. So yeah, we got Ife coming in at the moment. It's going to be a great show because also it's the first time that I've had a woman on the show or a lady. So I'm really excited for this today because so far it's all been men. So let's get a lady on here, and she's so inspiring as well, and that's why I've got her over today. So yeah, here she is. So I really can't wait for this episode, guys. So tune in, people, listen in because Ife is so inspiring. Here she comes. Here we go.
Hi.
Ife, hello.
Hello, Ryan.
How are you doing, Ife?
Very, very good. Thank you so much. I'm doing really well. I'm so excited that I'm the first woman on your show. Well, I'm doing it for the ladies.
Oh, I'm so I'm so excited as well. You know, like I can't really can't wait for this episode because, like I said, like you are the first woman that's on my say show here, and yeah, there's a few women that I've reached out to already, and we got a few say in the pipeline. But if he, like, I know you now, I've known you for a while, and you are so inspiring. I've heard your journey, so I feel like there's many people, men and women, that can take a lot away from your journey today. So thank you so much for coming, and I feel honoured as well to do it today. What are we? We're on a Wednesday today, right?
Wednesday, my favorite day of the week.
Your favourite day, yeah. So I feel
Yes,
honoured.
it is my favorite day of the week. Okay, that's a bit better. The lighting was a bit bright before. Yes, Wednesday's my favorite day of the week. So I'm very excited to be here because some people call Wednesday Hump Wednesday, but I call it Wednesday. I love it. It's the day that you run up that hill. And today it's been insane for me, Ryan. I mean, I've been running up that hill, literally gassed out. I don't mean metaphorically gassed out. I mean, literally run out of petrol. Run out of petrol of all days. Anyway.
Wow, I mean, the prices of petrol, right, are going right up, but that's another story for another day. Iffy, thank you so much for coming. So let's jump in. Let's get started. If you're happy to go, let's kick it off. So
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
excited.
Iffy,
Can I
what I
just
want
say
to do,
hello? Can I say
yeah,
hello
please
to some of
do,
the people? Hi,
please do.
Chris. Hi, Helene. Thank you for joining me, Katia and Lorraine. Lovely to see you all. I've just pinged them. Hi. Nice to see
Oh,
you all.
amazing. Yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for coming on. So, yeah, tune in, listen in, because this is going to be such an inspiring and amazing episode from Iffy today. So, Iffy, to kick it off with, please could you say introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and talk to us maybe as well about growing up through your younger years, through your say childhood, throughout your 20s, maybe some of the experiences that you went through in your younger years, and maybe some of the challenges as well that you faced, and what you had to do in order to get you to where you are today.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Ryan, for having me. It's amazing. So my name's Nikki Thomas. I'm a mindset and confidence coach, and I help entrepreneurs get on video. Hi, David Sales Angel. So lovely to see so many of you. And I absolutely love the work that I do. I've been working in the world of mental health and mindset now for over a decade. You know, it's the work that I do, and it's because I've had to work on my own mental health. I've had to understand myself. And then once I learned that there was a formula to success, I just wanted to go out there and spread it to the world. So I wrote a book. So I'm an author as well, and I use my book to help coach my clients, and the stuff in there is universal. So growing up as a child, I was probably, people would look at me and be like, she's very loud and confident and has her stuff together. But I was masking. It was, you know, I was projecting out this confident, cool black girl when really maybe there were lots of insecurities growing up. But I found dancing. So when I was 9 years old, I first went into a dance studio, and my whole life changed. That the moment I walked into the dance studio, the moment when the dance teacher said, this is the steps that you need to do, step. And I was like, someone's showing me what to do. And once I knew what to do, I felt comfortable, I felt safe. I wasn't particularly good at dancing to begin with. I didn't have natural ability, but I recognized that someone was showing me what to do, and all I had to do was be consistent and practice. So that's where I kind of built that mindset. And after dancing and training as a dancer, I ended up in a really great college called the Erdang Academy, which is in London. It's quite a renowned, prestigious college to get into, and I went there and trained as a dancer. And what I recognized in my dancing days, there's a real correlation between physical health and mental health. And the same things that I used to train my body as a dancer, I took all those attributes when I left the world of entertainment and set up my business in corporate finance. And I took all those attributes of consistency, resilience, repetition, determination, all the things that I had to build my body. I used to build my business. And I saw the connection between the two. But when I was in my 20s, to answer your question, is I went to dance college when I was 17. So I went straight into the world of dance and was in competitive training to become a professional dancer. So my life was very much, I spent a lot of my time dancing in a studio, in ballet tights, in leggings, standing in front of a mirror, working on my point, working on my pirouettes and my développé. But then in the evenings, out partying with the girls in London, we were out in all the hotspot clubs in London and living a wild life, as you can imagine, going to bed at 4 a.m. in the morning and having our rolled up ballet tights from the day before, grubby and tied into our ballet shoes, running up to the studio floor and being, still smelling of alcohol and stinking of cigarettes and living on Red Bull. That was my life as a 20-year-old. But I think the thing that made it easier is that I was surrounded by people who all believed what I believed. I was surrounded by dancers and performers and people who had this love for dance, love for performing, love for it. So I found my tribe, and I was in a position where I was surrounded by people who all were working towards the same thing. There was structure. So it gave me somewhere to go. And I met Terence when I was 19, and he said that looking back, he couldn't believe how driven I was, how focused I was, because not like many of the other girls that he met in Milton Keynes, where we're from. He said that I always just seemed to be so much older and so much grown up and so much focused and so independent. And it's because I knew I had my goal. I knew I wanted to become a professional dancer. I knew I wanted to travel the world. I knew I wanted to be on stages. So because I had that, nothing else really mattered. And I look at the young people today, and I feel so. I was having a conversation today actually with one of my sons, the friend of one of my sons, and we're saying being 21 today is just such a difficult place to be in. There's not much hope. They've had to really lose all those social skills that we developed when we were younger. Many of them have, not had the experience to develop and grow. And I think I'm so grateful that I was 20, in 2005, 2004, not 20 in 2020. I think being 20 in 2020 is probably one of the hardest things. And what we're going to see is my friend, the mum, said something really good. She said, we have got a mental health pandemic that is on the rise, and it hasn't come yet, but we will see the results of COVID and the pandemic and how it's affected our 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds. We will see that, and it's showing up now. And in the next 5 years, we're going to experience a lot of mental health challenges for these 25-year-olds. So, we've got a lot of work to do, which is why I love you, Ryan, because you are going to be the one that's going to motivate, inspire, encourage, and empower these youth. You are the man.
Iffy, thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing that as well. And yeah, there's a few things that I took away from what you just mentioned there. To begin with, what I'm going to start with, I'm going to go right back to the start. You mentioned I wasn't a good dancer, you said, to start with, but you worked on yourself on a frequent basis. So I believe practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes progress and eventually makes permanent. So for anybody, say, listening, it could be a young man, young girl, anyone listening that wants to, say, start something maybe new that they've never tried before, what piece of advice or wisdom from your own experience could you give that person that's maybe worried about, say, taking that first step?
Great question. And I love what you said. Practice makes progress, which makes permanent. Absolutely. I love those 3 Ps. I'd say, first of all, you have to decide what it is that you truly want. Because most people never actually commit and decide what they want, because we're so worried that we're going to choose the wrong thing, or we're going to put all the effort in and then it's not going to be the thing. I think the first step is have clarity. Be clear about, what do I really want and what does it look like? Once you know what you want and you own it, and I mean own it, so you say out loud, I want to be the fastest female in the world, or I want to have a business that turns over £100,000 and I want to spend my day working with animals because I want to be a vet. Whatever it is, but own it and be clear about it. That's the first challenge. Most people never decide. But once you've decided what it is, you're going to get these thoughts coming to your mind that are literally like, well, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? What if it doesn't work? What you have to do is be able to tackle that critic within. Those voices pipe up instantly when you try to do something that you've not done before. Hi, Sonia. So what you have to do is you have to really look at that voice and be like, no, I am going to do it. And you have to really start believing it's possible, and then surround yourself with people who also are on a mission to achieve something, because there's nothing worse being the only one who's on a mission in your circle of friends. They're all hanging around, chilling out, doing mediocre life, and you've got this goal and vision and they just want you to kind of be with them. So you want to find other people who are on a mission, which is why I said in my dancing world, everyone I was with was on a mission. Everyone wanted to be the lead in a show. Everyone wanted success. So it was easy to not get distracted. But what I would say is that you can have anything that you want. If you want something, you can have it. Now, what you must do, like Ryan said, is that first of all, you have to decide what it is that you want. Then you have to make a decision to be excellent. No matter what happens, you're going to be excellent. And then one of my favorite quotes is by Norman Vincent Peale. He says, are you prepared to do the things today that others won't do, to have the things tomorrow that others won't have? So you have to be prepared to not fall asleep with the control because you're watching one Netflix after a Netflix. You have to be in a position where you're trying to keep your eyes open while you're trying to work on your business. There's been so many times where I'm literally like this, trying not to, because I'm writing some copy for my website, or because I'm trying to read or study a book. Like, be falling asleep because be so tired because you're working on something that's going to help you. I love this idea of, if we think about money is very much like time, and time is very much like money. When you spend it, it's gone. You can spend it, but what you can do is you can invest your time, get your return on time investment. So what's a return on time investment? Every time you read a book, the time it takes you to read the book, I would do an audiobook and put it on triple speed so you get it fast and underline. That is an investment. You're still using your time. You could be doing something else in that time, but the time that you're using to read the book is going to be an investment into the future. Now, the time that you're watching or playing on, I don't know, Xbox or something, is, unless you want to be a gamer or you want to be a graphic like you want to be in that world, then that is, once you've spent that time, it's gone. It's literally gone. So I would say to anyone watching is, it is possible, but it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. There is a simple success formula. Hi, Nazir, lovely to see you. So yeah, you can have, be, or do anything that you want. If you're watching and you're thinking, oh no, I can't, I'm unlucky. No, you can actually, but you have to be willing to put in the work in advance. You have to be willing to do it in advance. You cannot think that you can have your chicken at Nando's before paying for it, because when you go to Nando's, you got to pay for it first, then they bring it to the table and they say, here's the chicken, eat it, now pay me. And that's what I see that success and reaching your goals is. You have to be willing to put in the effort consistently, like you said, and practice and repetition, so until it feels natural. When it feels, and that's, if I go back to my dancing, if we use the same analogy, I wasn't a great dancer. I didn't have flexibility, spatial awareness, wasn't great at timing. I didn't have natural ability, but I knew I wanted to be fantastic. I could see what it would look like if I could do it. So then I was willing for a long period of time to keep practicing, keep doing it, to the point where I get to a point where people watch me doing a triple pirouette and landing it beautifully and say, oh, you're such a natural dancer. No, I'm not. I am trained. I have worked. I've done the work. So now, any time of day, I can stop, just pull my chair back and do a triple pirouette and land. Why? Because like you said, permanent. Practice, progress. It's permanent. I can do a triple pirouette and I'll be able to do one when I'm 90. Why? Because I trained for so many years, standing in, like, even if you think about it, like we literally spent, I don't know if you can see my leg, standing in this position for hours, like just pointing our toe and all this, we've spent years. I haven't danced for ages, but I can still stand up and do a triple pirouette. Why? Because it's in my body, because I put the work in all those years, 2 decades of training, means that now I can do it without thinking. But does that mean that I'm natural? No. That means it's permanent. I love that, Ryan. Love it.
Oh, I love what you just said there, Iffy, as well. Like, you said so many things there, which was fantastic. I mean, to start with, you said about like making the choices to do things that are going to move you closer. And I think that's such a great question you can ask yourself. And that question is this, whatever this may be, is this getting me closer to or further away from my goal? Whether it's a sat playing the Xbox, like you mentioned. If you want to become a gamer and you're going to make millions from playing games and help a load of people, like, do it. Do that, because that's what you want to become. But if you want to become, say, I don't know, like you say, a ballet dancer, and you're playing the Xbox, or you're sat on the sofa watching TV, that's not really going to move you any closer. So you need to do things that are going to be a good investment of time. That's what you said, Iffy, which was brilliant. I liked what you said about the Nando's as well. Like, you need to put in the work first. So you need to pay first for your Nando's before you reap the rewards. Like, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat its fruit.
Exactly.
Oh, there was so much that I took away from that. It was brilliant. Yeah, delayed gratification as well. Like, you don't just show up once and become an expert at anything. It takes years of dedication, of showing up really when you don't want to, and it's that compound effect that builds on each other. Like you just said, was it the pirouette? Pirouette? Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Like, you stood
pirouette,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, you stood there. Some people might look at that and go, well, that's pointless. You just stood still. Like, what's that doing? But it's the small things that compound on each other over time that
Yes,
build and
it
build and
is.
build for those big achievements, right? It's not those big steps really that do anything in our lives. The big steps quite often take us further away from where we want to go. It's the small steps that are compounded daily that are going to make us get closer to our goals. So I love what you said there, Iffy.
Yeah, it is that. And I think it's knowing that as well. I want to say hello to Miss Community Team. She's wonderful. Thank you for joining. Thank you. So many of you are enjoying the conversation. I don't know, is my camera still working? Are you back? Yes.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
I love what you said about delaying gratification. It's at, oh, I think there's a delay, a little delay. I'll just keep speaking. I love what Les Brown said, that he said, he says, well, I don't know if it was Les Brown or basically what I've gathered from delaying gratification is that we live in a world where you can order something today on Amazon and it literally arrives 12 hours later on the same day now. So we have got used to this kind of like impulse, instant gratification. And I think that if we use that approach to our business, our lives, our growth, our goals, then we'll end up really disappointed, because the world doesn't work like that. It isn't like you said, you plant a tree and then eat the fruit. That doesn't happen. But I think when you get to the point in your mindset that you realize, look, if I want something, there's going to be a big gap from where I am to where I want to be. What are the steps? I look at it as like a gap analysis. So where am I now? Where do I want to be? What's the gap in between? What are the steps that I'm going to have to do? And each step could be 3 years, and there might be 10 steps. That could be 30 years. If you want to be a doctor, you know when you're going to medical school, you're not going to go and do 1 year and become a surgeon, brain surgeon. You've already decided, you know what? It doesn't matter how great I am. It doesn't matter how much I want it. The process for this is, it's 5 years. You know, it's literally 5 years. You become a F2, a senior house officer. So you start off as a house officer, then you go to a senior house officer, then you go to a registrar, and then you go to a consultant. And then but each of these things are like 1 or 2 years, you know, and you have to pass these exams. And then once you become a consultant, you've still got loads of work to do before you can be known as the expert. You know, one of my friends is a consultant now, and the time it's taken her, I've had 3 careers in her doctor career. But the point is that when you decide what it is that you want, you have to be willing to do the work for as long as it takes. And if you're somebody who wasn't, you know, struggle maybe academically, or you want to be a bodybuilder and you've always had weight problems, you have to just say to yourself, I'm going to times by 5. That's what I say, because I know that my inborn attributes, the things that I've been given, being autistic, I lack a lot of things that other people have naturally. So whenever I'm going to do something, if me and you were going to go and suddenly become chefs, and they said, right, to become a Michelin star chef, it's going to take 6 years. I'd be like, well, Ryan will do it in 6 years, but I'm going to tell myself, I'm going to say 6, 12, 18. Okay, I'm going to give it 18 years for me. And I already decided in advance, I'm going to stick at this for 18 years. I'm willing that it might take me 3 times as long as you, because I already know what my limitations are. But it doesn't mean, but the difference is I will keep going and someone else will stop. And then I'll get there and then they would have stopped and be like, wow, you're just so smart. I'll be like, no, I just decided in advance that I wasn't going to give up. That's the difference. You just say, I'm never going to give up. I don't care how long it takes. I'm never stopping. I'm never going to divert. And most people, they're in lanes. You get into your lane, you know where you're going, and then you look at your friend who's doing something else and seems to be making money and driving a nice car and living a lavish lifestyle. And you go, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do what they're doing. And then you have to start at the back of the queue again. And then you get halfway there and then you see someone else doing something. You go, I'm going to go and do that. The problem is people jump lanes too many times. If you just stay in the lane, the thing that you want, and keep going for as long as it takes, you will always arrive there. I've watched it with my son. 8 years we've been working on him being able to really be able to take control of his thoughts, his brain, his mind, and be accepted in society, and to be able to go to the best schools and to be able to do his exams. And 8 years of helping him. We didn't just do what all the other parents do who've got kids with autism. We did everything that was possibly out there. We tried everything: neurofeedback, brain training, the food, everything, everything I could find. I did it because I was like, I'm not going to give up on my son. Never. Where there's many people who've got autistic children who have come to the idea that it's a sentence and they'll just do the best that they can with what they have. I'm like, no, we're not going to do the best we can with what we have. We're going to expand what we have and get the best that we can from outside to help enhance what we have. It's a completely different attitude. So, and that's how I apply everything that I do. I am never going to stand still, ever.
Oh, that attitude, Iffy, is like amazing. And as soon as you said that there, what sprung into my mind was the quote that says, "Don't let good enough be good enough." Because so many people just settle for a good life. Like, why have a good life when you can have a great life, when you can have an amazing life, when you can have, say, an awesome life? You can have any life you want. Why settle for a good life? Like, good. When people say, "Oh yeah, that's good," what's a good life? So I like what you said there. Is like, I'm gonna get outside sources so we can make it better than just good. Like, nobody wants just good. But yeah, there was just so much that you said there, which was fantastic. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start. There's just so much. That's so good. I can't wait to just listen to this back as well. And like everyone here, I see all the feedback that's coming through as well. So, it's incredible. So, yeah, again, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone for being here. So just, carrying on. So, yeah, where do I want to go down this route? What I just said there. So, yeah, so many people say they're not willing to put in that effort or that delayed gratification. They want that instant results. And yeah, you mentioned about, say, staying on your track in life, staying on your path, because we need to focus in life. Like, we need to be focused on our end goal, maybe begin with the end in mind. So focus stands for follow one course until successful. Because you mentioned Iffy, about people were like, they're on their little path of purpose, and then they see someone else zoom past them and they're like, actually, I'm going to go here. And they just divert path. Then actually someone's gone that way, so they go this way. And then they're swapping lanes, but they're so quick. They haven't given things chance to unfold and start to see anything. Because Simon Sinek says it well. He says, you go to the gym once, you go home, you see nothing. You go to the gym twice, you go home, you see nothing. You go to the gym, and he just keeps going. You go to the gym, you could go to the gym for a month and not see a single thing. You go to the gym for 6 months, you'll start seeing things. You go to the gym for a year and you might look in the mirror and go, oh my God, look how well I've done. But things are not overnight, right? So focus.
They're not overnight.
Focus, stay in your lane as well. Just imagine a swimmer. They say, like, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. So stay in your lane, stay focused on your end goal, and stay on that path, stay in that track. And you will, like Iffy said, you will eventually get there in the end.
Yeah, you so will. And I love that because it reminds me of a quote what Oprah Winfrey says. She says, if you're running a race as fast as you can, the amount of energy it takes for you to look to see how close the other person is next to you can be the very thing that slows you down. Because if you think about when they 100-meter sprints, the winner wins by like zero point 0.0 of a second. So if you're focused on what other people are doing, you are literally, your eyes aren't on your game. And from a mental health standpoint as well, when you are constantly switching lanes and trying to find a faster, easier route and keep jumping, what it does is it creates anxiety in the body because you then are living in this state of scarcity. I meet a lot of people, many entrepreneurs who are in this state of scarcity. They're so scared that they're missing out, so scared that they're not as good as the person next to them. And that scarcity creates the vibration internally. And when you have that energy, because what happens is your body moves into a state of fear, and then the fear starts to create this, on a cellular level, you're vibrating this negative energy. But instead, most people don't go, ah! Most people hold it in, don't they? They suppress it. So they suppress all of that energy. And the more and more they suppress it, what happens is it creates that anxiety. And you can see it. It's like this nervous energy. Oh, I better go there. Oh, I better go there. They're scrolling on Instagram. They're going from one thing to the other. They can't. And then they say they're overwhelmed. And so what I find is that the way to override that feeling of anxiety and overwhelm is to have a clear goal, to have a clear idea of where you're going. Trust that you are going the right way, not just because you thought it is, because part of what the work I do is I won't do anything unless I have a plan. I just won't. I refuse to do it. I will never walk out my front door and be like, how do I get to Ryan's house? I know, I'll just get in my car and hope to get there. You know, I would never do that. I would want a plan, and I'd speak to you first. I want your postcode. I want your address. I want to know what's the best road. And then when I know all this stuff, I will be so confident in my car getting to you because I know. But imagine I get in the car and I'm like, I kind of want to go there. And then I see someone say, we're going to a party and it's in Manchester. Oh, I'll go there with you. And then I lose those people. And I'm like, where am I going? Oh, I'll go back to, oh, where am I going? And it's so easy to get distracted. So the idea, it actually benefits individually you. If you decide what it is that you want, you find people who've been where you want to be, you ask them how they got there, then you follow the same road, the same paths as they did. But because they've already been there, they'll know where all the roadblocks are, where all the dead ends are, where all the potholes are. They'll know where all the problems are. And they'll say, look, if I was to do it again, this is what I wouldn't do. For me, I wouldn't invest in a £10,000 website. When I started my business, we invested in a £10,000 website that we had purposely made. Back in 2015, we had our own purpose-built PHP website where it was. I'd never do that again. Why? I've learned that you don't need to do that. You can just get a WordPress and have it spin up, or a shopping. Like, you don't need that. But what I'm saying is, anyone who is going to try and get where I am today, if anyone says, I want to be a speaker, a paid speaker, I want to be on platforms, I want to have my book, I want to have a business, I would tell them, these are the things I wouldn't do if I was to do it again. And this is the road. And then if they trust me, they will just go on that road. Look, Mimi's just joined. Nice to see you, Mimi.
Again, Iffy, that was amazing. What you just said there was absolutely incredible. Yeah, I want to say thank you for everyone that's showing up and everyone that is here. I see some comments. I can't type back, guys, but thank you so much. I will get back to you. Iffy, what you just said there was incredible about, say, knowing your path and knowing where you're going in life. Because if you don't know where you're going in life, any road will get you there. So you need to set your GPS, just like you mentioned. If you get in the car, so say if I'm at my house and I want to go to Milton Keynes to see Iffy, I need to know exactly where she lives. She could just say Milton Keynes. Milton Keynes is a big place, right, Iffy? So I could end up. Yeah, I could exactly. So I could end up anywhere in Milton Keynes if I just typed in my sat nav or my phone, Milton Keynes. So I need her postcode and the number of her house. So just like in life, you need to set your GPS, which stands for Goal, Plan, See. You need to begin with the end in mind by setting your goal. You need to know exactly what that goal looks like and what it looks like when you get there. Visualize it. So goal, plan, see. Goal, set that goal. Plan, Plan is the action steps that you need to take in between, and you need to take every single step. You can't just take one step and be there. It's a series of small steps that are compounded over a specific amount of time, over years. And then see it, visualize this thing every single day in your own mind. Because every single thing that has ever been created has been created twice. Once in the mind and once in reality. So you need to wake up every morning. You think, what does that life look like when I get there? And just every time before you go to bed, before you close your eyes and go to bed, just think, right, I'm going to visualize what my future looks like. Close your eyes, sit there in silence, and yeah, with your eyes closed, obviously, and just see what it looks like and visualize this. Make a picture, paint a picture in your own mind. Because if you can do that every day, what you think about, you bring about. So you're going to bring it into your life. So Iffy, I loved what you said about that there.
Oh, and I love what you said. And I think when you mention visualization, often people can go, oh, this is woo-woo. It really isn't. It's science. I'm somebody who is not a fan of the word woo-woo, because the word woo-woo really does undermine science. Now, one of the things that I've studied is quantum physics theory on mindset. I wanted to actually understand, how does it work when people talk about the law of attraction? How does it actually work? Well, when you look at the science and you look at how our thoughts are physical particles. So when you think of something, like you said, visualizing, when you see it, everything I have achieved to this day, I have seen it first. There's been loads of things that I've achieved beyond what I've seen, but I have seen it. I mean, visualization is something that once you know what you want and you're willing to give yourself the opportunity to like play the movie on your mind, be clear about what it is. You know, I'll tell you a time when, I'll tell you a small visualization that we did when me and Terence, right? So we really had this vision for our children. We've got 2 boys and there's 17 months between them. And I remember when we were putting them in the car, and at the time we had a car that didn't have 4 doors, it had 2 doors. So I said, you know, we really want to have a Range Rover, you know, we would love a Range Rover. Like, this is back in 2014, and we've had a Range Rover now for more than nearly 10 years. But, well, it'll be 10 years in 2 years' time. But basically, we were like, we really want one. Just imagine what it'd be like. So we visualized it, and we made plans, and we focused on it, and we got one. And when we were putting the car seat in the car for the little one and the other one in the car seat, I said, one day, you know, I can imagine Quincy and Cuba in the back, you know, sitting there on their iPads. And I was like, oh, that'd be amazing. So we visualized that. And then that day came and they're in the back on their iPads. We were like, oh my gosh, imagine how great it would be if instead of us carrying them in the car, they could open the door, get in the car and put their seatbelt on themselves. Because you go for this period where you're carrying them in and you're putting the seatbelt on. So imagine the day they can put their own seatbelt on. And we used to visualize getting in the car, all 4 of us opening the door and all of us putting our seatbelts and looking back. And then we said, and imagine if when we get there, they can unplug their seatbelts. When the day happened, we were training them to do it. So we used to show them over and over again for weeks, and then how to push their little fingers in the thing to open the seatbelt. And when it happened, me and Terry looked at each other and we were like, boys, put your seatbelts on then. And they went, we were like, we visualized this, and it was exactly like we visualized it. And then when they got out the car, we were like, ah! Like we'd seen it. And I know it sounds small, but the thought when you're carrying your children and it's for years and you're visualizing them actually doing it. Now they're big boys. They get in, and we're just like, this is amazing, you know. And that's the thing about visualization. It's whatever you want, you can have. So I'll give you that tiny little example, which is a big example. But imagine if you have 10-year-old children who can't put their own seatbelts on. That would be quite difficult, because there are. And then we've other things to visualize. So we visualized that Terence, he wanted his dream car. His R8. He's got an R8. Didn't even know what one was when he told me he wanted one. It was 2010. He was like, I'd love an R8. Like, at the time, we were like, what the blooming hell? No way could we. Yeah, he put the picture of it on the vision board, and we would go to bed and he'd imagine being it, visualize it. We went and test drove it. We went and felt what it felt like. When we went to test drive it, we didn't have enough money to even pay 10% of the R8, let alone have a whole one. And he went and test drove it, and that was 2015. And then 2016, 17, 18, 19. And he was every day looking at the R rate, looking at the R rate, looking at the R rate. And then in 2020, he got it. He got his R rate. Now, he could have, he literally said that when he got in it, he wanted to cry. Because growing up in an area where he grew up in, like, not in a high income area, never thinking it was possible, visualizing it, living it, dreaming about it, meant that every decision that we made, you know, he got his R8. Like, he didn't visualize us getting married. So he's got his R8, we're not married. Because we didn't visualize it, we were visualizing the R8. So until we started visualizing getting married, we still weren't married, we're still not married. So the thing is whatever you think about grows. So you can, and there's many people who can have an R8 but won't buy one or won't have one. Not because they don't have the money, because they're not willing to choose that over something else. It's about a choice. You know, it is always about a choice. So it's about what you want. So I've got a friend who years ago was like, I really want a Range Rover. I said, well, get one. He now earns so much money and could easily afford one. He still don't have one. I just couldn't imagine, because he couldn't imagine himself having one. Even though he's got the funds, he still doesn't have one. What's that about? I said, did you ever visualize? He never test drove one. Because no matter how wealthy he comes, he's not going to have one because he doesn't believe it's possible. He doesn't think he's the type of person who has one. He'd rather keep that money in his bank. So that means he's never going to have one. It doesn't really matter. So that's the whole point of visualization, is you fixate on the thing that you want, and everything that you do is to get that thing, and then you can have it. It's really simple if you do it right. But most people go, oh, I can't have that. Oh, I couldn't do that. Oh, I couldn't possibly, you know?
That was brilliant again, Iffy. And yeah, again, what stood out there for me was just about believing that you can have that stuff. Like, the moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. So the moment you think, oh, I can't have that, you're never going to have it. You need to say to yourself, I will have that. I will get that. I do deserve it. And just imagine yourself being there every single day. And when you do that, when you have it in your mind that you're going to have that, like, no matter what, you're going to have it, your actions will then be, say, in line with making that vision become a reality, you know?
Absolutely. And even to go to this far, like, say something, because I have a vision of what I want. I know people who would be like, oh, I would love to, I know, send my children to this certain school, yeah, but they don't want to drive to get there. So like, oh, I just want to walk. Well, then that's it. Then you can't have both things, you know. And it's as simple as that. Or if I said to myself, you know, I really want to go and see Trevor Nelson, but I don't want to drive all the way to Manchester. Well, then I don't get to see him then. Well, some other people will be like, I really want to see Trevor Nelson. I have to go and dance to his music. Well, then they will get in their car and they will drive to Manchester. The other person will be like, because they want it, but they're not willing to drive 3 hours to go there. And then when they see you at the party dancing, they're like, oh, they're so lucky. No, they made the sacrifice to drive for 3 hours because you weren't willing to do it. And it's the same thing when we talk about Netflix, and the same thing when we talk about where we spend our time on social media. If you truly want to achieve your goals and you are willing to put the effort in up front, and you're willing to sacrifice some of the things that you think are fun and easy. Les Brown says, do what's hard and necessary before what's fun and easy. If you're happy to do that and you're willing to do that, you will see the results. You know, there's so many Netflix series that I would love to watch. I would love it. It'd be brilliant to sit on a weekend and watch one after the other. But is that going to get me towards my goal? Like what you said, is it moving me closer to my goal? No. So even though I really want to, I have to decide what's more important to me. So if I sat and watched Netflix on the weekend, then I love this idea that where we are today is a result of all the things that we did in the past. Where we will be tomorrow is a result of the things that we do now. So I get a choice. If I really want to be a speaker on some of the big stages and get to meet Oprah Winfrey and work with the likes of Shonda Rhimes and Tyler Perry, the kind of people on my vision board that I really want to work with, then I have to decide in this moment, do I watch Netflix or do I read a book that's going to expand my mind? Yeah, it's a choice. Like time, return on time investment. Watching Will Smith's interview with Jada Pinkett, or reading a book about, or
Your book.
reading this book, Becoming, like, or reading this book, which is on my list, Messaging, and I've got this other book. You know, what else have I got? I've got Melissa's book. I've got
Oh,
all these
nice.
books that are on my hit list. I can read these books that are going to expand my mind, or I can watch an interview with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and then get involved in the comments. I get to decide where I spend my time. Am I going to get a return on my time investment watching the news and responding? Or do I read a book, get an audio book, go in a clubhouse room and meet some like-minded people? It's about being intentional. It's about having to say, nope, I'm not going to do that. And a lot of people don't have the willpower, the determination, the desire to say, as much as that would be fun, talking about Will Smith, because it is fun, it's interesting, is it going to get me to where I want to be? Because I'm not a spectator. I've never been a spectator. I'm not a consumer. I'm a creator. You know, I'm a creator. I don't consume unless I'm consuming things that allow me to create more, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, brilliant, Iffy, again. And I just want to take it back a step about the mindset and about the cars. We were talking about cars, right? So I come up with a quote. You know I love my quotes, right? So I come up with a quote that says, "You will never achieve Maserati dreams with a Mazda mindset." Like, you need to upgrade your mindset, because if you still got that lack mentality or lack mindset or scarcity mindset, you're never going to have these big things that you visualize. But then also, yeah, you mentioned about sacrifice and the desire to change and stuff. Like, your desire to change must be greater than your desire to stay the same. And if you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes the sacrifice.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember someone saying to us before, when we had a Saab, and we were like, took it to a garage, and we said to the garage people, oh, one day we want to have a Range Rover. It was like, you'll never get those. They're really expensive. That's what he said to us. And me and Terry went, what? I think that quote is great, because the people at the garage, they had a Mazda mindset. So they were never going to get a Maserati, but they also projected their low lack of aspiration onto us. You know, this is another key important part. You can have clarity about what it is that you want. You can surround yourself with people that think like you. You can build your self-esteem. You can work on having an engaging personality. You can get the plan. You can avoid the news and work on your mental intake. You can do all these things, but if you surround yourself consistently with negative people, then those negative people and their thoughts and beliefs will hold you back. So one of the things that I say, and I'm not a couples counselor, but I say to my book came out in 2015, and I've been coaching people using my book strategy now, like, you know, for a long time. We're talking about 7 years. And in the first 3 years, I started working with people, and I started realizing that they would digress. And when I did the work and said, look, what's stopping you? What's holding you back? It was always a partner. It was either a partner or a parent. The person in their closest proximity was actually was not supporting the development and the growth of the mindset. They were undermining it. Hi, Becca. Hi, Diamond. Thank you for being here. So this is the one thing I will say to anyone watching. Even if you have all of this stuff, even me now, if I went and put myself in a negative environment, my reference group, if my circle of influence, like Tim Story says, who's in your green room, if I went and put myself with negative, moany complainers who think that the rich get rich, the poor get poor, money doesn't grow on trees, they believe that everything bad happens to them, they buy lottery tickets hoping that they'll win the lottery, they complain and bitch and moan and have a malevolent worldview, think that the world is awful, I can guarantee spending 1 month in that environment, I would not be the same person. because it's impossible to hold on to who you are when the people around you are sucking the life out of you, which is why you've got to put yourself, it's better to be alone than with negative people. Negative people suck. Les Brown said, negative people are so negative, you can put them in a dark room and they begin to develop. I love that quote. Makes me laugh all the time. But when I see a negative person, I'm like, I literally back away, slowly back away. I'm like, they're going to try and suck the light out of me, because the negative people, their darkness consumes all your light. So, yeah, it doesn't matter how well read you are, doesn't matter how much determination, ambition, desire, get away from negative people. Birds of a feather flock together. You become the average of the people you spend all your time with. We've heard this. Get away from them. Don't think, oh, don't worry, I'm just going to focus in my own space. At work, on a bus, even if I'm on a train carriage and there's someone negative, I can feel their energy. I move to the different train carriage. I don't want to be around them. They're awful. Anyway, that was my rant over. Yeah, look, Helene, run! Yeah, run away like you're running out of a burning building. That's what I do. Pretend you're on fire. I'm like, ah! Because what they're going to do is suck the light out of you, and then you'll be ashes anyway. You'll be like you've been burnt. You know, you've been burnt from all of their negativity, and they've sucked the life out of you, and then you turn into ashes. And then when you're so deflated, it's hard to get back up. Ryan, you're not.
This is brilliant. This is so good. I can't wait to hear this back. But yeah, it's so true, right? Like, people in life are either like vacuums or like chargers. Like, the vacuums will suck the energy and suck the drive out of you, which in return will hold you back. But the chargers will help boost you and charge you up to that next level of life. So surround yourself with positivity, whether this is books, people, or online content. Because if you mentioned it there, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Absolutely. Did you see what Denise wrote? She wrote, they turn your ideas to ashes.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. It's so true.
I love what you said, Ryan. Vacuum. I always say radiators or drains, but I love vacuums or plugs. Can I use that when I do my shares?
Yeah.
Quote Ryan.
Vacuums or chargers, yeah. So
vacuums or chargers.
Yeah, stay away from the energy vampires, because they will suck the life out of you, and then you remain stagnant. But yeah, seriously, like, don't surround yourself with people that are going to be like the naysayers. Like, don't ever let, say, somebody who gave up on their dreams talk you out of achieving yours. Okay? Don't ever let someone else decide, design, determine, or dictate your destiny. Because it's down to you and you alone. If you believe in your dreams, go after it. Don't let anyone else tell you that you can't achieve it. So, Iffy, as we wrap this up now, I want to ask you 5 quick questions, if it's okay.
Okay, I'll be very quick. Can you do me like a little bell so that
let's go. Someone put a bell mark in there for us, a bell emoji.
Yeah, someone put a bell when I've spoken for a minute. That'll be good.
Right, so the first question, Iffy, is, what is the best piece of advice that you have received, and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the best piece of advice that came to mind is, it's none of your business what other people think about you. My best friend, she said to me, it's none of your business what other people are thinking about you, because it's their business. So don't allow yourself to be swayed by other people's opinions about you. She goes, it's none of your business. Focus on your business. And I was like, oh, I really like that, because it's made me I care less. Not because I don't care about what people think, but I care less about what people think about me I just wait till you tell me what it is. So I think that's the best advice I've been given.
That's fantastic. And, again, what sprung to mind for me, like, people are always going to have a negative opinion about you, what you do, the path that you've taken in your life. Like, for instance, I done the skydive for charity. I raised £1,000 for charity.
Congrats.
People were saying to me, like, the naysayers and the negative people, and I say that's so stupid and all this, like, oh my god, I can't. I'm just like, I just raised £1,000 for a mental health charity. Like, you're complaining. Like, there's always going to be someone who's going to complain about it. Yeah, but just like, taking the piss, basically, taking the piss out of me for doing it. And I'm like, I'm doing something to help people out. So there's always going to be
Oh.
someone that's going to say, have an opinion on you and what you do. And that's fine. And it's none of your business to find out why. So that's brilliant. That is. I love that.
Yay! And we've had a bell. A bell's come from Diamond. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Yeah. So on the flip side of that, Effie, what is the worst piece of advice that you have ever received and acted on? And what was the result?
Oh my gosh, great. What's the worst piece of advice? I've had lots of crap advice.
So
So much.
it could be family members, friends. They could maybe have said
Um,
things like, "Oh, don't do that," but then you've done it anyway, and it turned out to be amazing. It could be anything like that.
oh my gosh. Okay, the worst piece of advice that I've had, and it wasn't even advice, it was a statement. The head teacher at Quincy's school, when Quincy was 5, diagnosed with autism, spoke to the head teacher and I said, look, I really want Quincy to be able to develop faster. I feel like the work that you're giving him is very basic and he needs to move up. I said, the goal really is for Quincy to be able to do his SATs and his GCSEs. Quincy's 5 at the age, and the teacher said to me this is what she said to me in my kitchen. Oh my gosh, this is the worst advice I've ever heard. She said, Miss Thomas, I know that you're very positive and into personal development and stuff, but I just think that you should be really realistic about the fact that your son will never be able to cope in a mainstream school. He's just not able. Those schools are not supportive for him. He will never be able to cope. And the more and more you keep trying to push him into a school, that's not going to be good for him. And he will never be able to take his exams, Mrs. Thomas. He wouldn't have any comprehension. She told me that when he was 5. Quincy's now 11. He took his exam mocks. He got 100% in his English language. And he goes to a mainstream school, and he's just been accepted into an independent school where they are very careful on who they take in. They need to have a certain level of ability. So that woman, if I'd have took her advice, my son would still be in a special needs school, probably still not even being examined. He would, his whole life would have been taken. Now he goes to a mainstream school. He associates with all of his peers. He's at the top of his class in exams. He can speak in 5 different languages. He's going to be an animator, and my son is going to change the world with whatever he does, and he's going to be recognized for his success. That woman, that teacher, should not be allowed to teach. Her advice was so bad. And I bet I'm not the first person she said that to. She said to me, he will never be able to cope in a mainstream school, and he will never be able to take his exams. And I should just be realistic. And she said I should be realistic and I should stop pushing. Worst advice I've ever received in my life, which means now when someone tells me something, I always fact check it. I'm always like, where's that coming from?
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, thank you,
I know.
Ivy, for sharing that, and well done to your son as well. Like, what a legend for going on and actually doing it itself. So well done for him. And oh my God, like, I'll tell you what really stood out for me then. And again, another sort of quote that come to mind would be like, never let somebody else's limiting beliefs limit your achievements, ever. Because so many
You're so
people say,
right.
you can't do that. And then all of a sudden we've listened to their, you can't do that. And then you can believe that bullshit, or you can just say, "No, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna show you that I can do it. Like, you watch me." Who said it? Muhammad Ali, wasn't it? I'll show you how great I am. I'm sure it was Muhammad Ali said that. Like,
Oh, I
just
love that.
show him how to do it.
There's another quote that says, first they'll tell you you can't do it, then they'll laugh at you, and then they'll love you, or something like that. Like,
No, yeah, something like that. I think I've heard one that says, first they'll laugh at you, second they'll support you, third they'll probably pay you to teach them.
I like that, and that's so true, isn't it? They're laughing at you, but I love what Denise said. That's the thing is that lots of people have been robbed. Lots of people have been robbed from their dreams because they've got people, naysayers, telling them that they're not able. People who are in a position of power, a position of authority, people who are older, they can impress their beliefs, like you said, their limiting beliefs about what they believe and their expectations for your life can be so low that you can actually take on board what they've said and actually reduce your whole life to their standards. It is frigging scary that we live in a world where people can actually confidently tell people they can't do things, that they don't, just things that they don't believe they can do. And I think that's the thing that Will Smith says ages ago. He said, you have to believe in something that you've not seen before. Like back to you saying believe, you have to believe that something different can happen. And I suppose for me, the moment I've had this mindset for decades now, but what I would say is there was a shift, a massive mental shift for me. And it was in 2008. In 2008, everything changed about possibilities. Could you know what happened in 2008?
I think so, yeah. Talk to us.
So in 2008, well, in the 90s, I used to listen to Tupac, and Tupac was like, Peter's joined, we'll never see a black president. Yeah, changes. We were, never going to see a black president. Those words were so ingrained in his rap. And I really believed him. But in 2008, when Barack Obama, he took his place as president, and I saw him stand up on stage, like a black man in America, the president of the United States, whatever his policies are, I don't really care, standing there and crying. He cried tears of joy to watch a black man as president crying because he's so overwhelmed. That him just getting there changed my belief about what's possible. Anything is possible now, because I always did think that we would never see a person of color as president. It happened, and then Trump, a billionaire businessman, becoming president. Justin Bieber can become blooming president. Harry marrying a woman of color. All these things that have happened, in the last 15 years are just unbelievably. Growing up as a little black girl, never believing that ever there would be an opportunity where people who look like me. Since that's happened, yeah, you can talk about the politics and all of that, but ultimately, anything is possible for any of us. Any of us, it is possible. When we have a woman as president, my gosh, that's going to just, we had Margaret Thatcher here in the UK, which was a massive game changer for women. Massive opportunity for women to see a woman prime minister. So I'm not to go into politics because I truly don't know anything about it. I just mean anything is possible. In 2008 was when I realized, yes, we can. Yes, I can. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. We can.
Ify, I think that's brilliant as well, because you know what? That's actually leading on to my next question. And I feel like you've sort of half answered it with what you just said there too. So, yeah, I'd love to ask you the next question, which would be, what was the main thing that you had to unlearn, say, throughout your life?
Oh, great question. I'd say the main thing that I had to unlearn is that you don't need to have natural ability. The things that you're born with do not determine your success in life. It's the things you acquire and your attitude. I always believed that if I couldn't do something, then that's it. I couldn't do something. And when I started studying the brain and neuroscience and understanding neurology and understanding that our brain is not fixed, our brain is flexible, and that we can train our brain and we can create neural pathways and we can create these deep grooves in the way that we think. When I found out, when I read The Brain That Changes Itself, and I watched Barbara Arrowsmith do a TED talk, and when I started studying how fascinating the brain is, it changed everything, because I truly believed that I was thick. I really believed I was thick, that I couldn't learn, that I was stupid. I used to use my visual memory to memorize answers, even if I didn't understand them. I really believe that you cannot become more mentally. And when I discovered that our brains are not fixed and that we can learn anything, it was a game changer for me, because I was like, my gosh, you know, people say to me, oh, if you're so intelligent, you're so smart, you know so much. I'm like, if you could have met me when I was 13 or when I was 7 at school, when I was struggling, you know, even to read and speak, like to read out loud in the classroom was so hard. And so what I'd do is I'd memorize the text so that I could make it look like I was reading it in the classroom. You know, I'm autistic. I only discovered that when I was 30. So I've only known for 7 years that I'm autistic. If I'd have discovered that when I was younger, I wouldn't have gone through my whole life thinking the only thing I'm good at is dancing. But that could be my superpower, because I found one thing. But there's many people who go through life who are autistic, who have neural development disorders, who actually don't find one thing. And because they don't find one thing, they believe that they are not good enough, that they're worthless, and that everyone else is worth more. And then that leads to depression, anxiety, mental health, and potentially suicidal thoughts that can lead to taking their own lives. So it is the biggest thing that I'm on a mission to get people is to believe in themselves, and to change their brains to believe that anything is possible. Just like Diane said, anything is possible. And it's not a throwaway comment. It actually is possible. It doesn't matter who you are. That was the biggest game changer in my life, because I know if I decided to date and I said, Ryan, I want to become a pilot, I know I could be. If I said I want to start up a talent agency for Japanese singers, I could do it. You know, I know that I can do anything I want to, and I will make it a success. It might take me 10, 20 years, but I believe in myself so much. I know I am able and capable to do anything, and that the world is conspiring for me to succeed, and it's conspiring for you to succeed. It's conspiring for us to succeed. It's about recognizing that it's possible. If I didn't have that, I don't know where I would be right now, because that's been the game change, and understanding that our brain can change.
I'm going to leave it on that there, with the bang there. The bang.
Do you like the bang?
That
We
was
need
so
sound
good.
effects.
We need. I can't tune up for a little bang. If anyone's got a bang emoji, you stick a bang in there. An explosion. You can do an explosion. No, that was brilliant.
A brain
That...
one, the one with the brain going.
Yeah, that was brilliant, Iffy. And look, it's so true. Like, anyone can become anything, but you need to decide on what you want to become, and then stay focused on that one path. Like, you can't be all over the place. Like, anyone can become anything, but not everyone can become everything. Like, everyone feels like, yeah, I can do all these things. No, you might be good. You might be good in a lot of things, but you want to be great. You want to be the best. You want to be fantastic at that one thing. You want to be that go-to person, the specialist in that area. Become the best. Dedicate yourself to something that you love, and just say, right, I'm gonna stick 10 years, I'm gonna stick 20 years, 30, 40, 50. I'm gonna dedicate my life to becoming this person. But you also have to say, let go of who you once were and who you currently are, in order to evolve into that person that you dream and desire to become. So, Iffy, that again, just gonna go on to the next question now, which would be, what is the greatest lesson that you have learned from your most painful life experience?
So my most painful life experience was January 2018, January the 6th. I was up really early because me and my sisters were all going to meet. My sister was getting married, so we were meeting up for like a hen wedding shopping or something. So I was up really early. So I was all ready and dressed, and then my phone rang. It was my sister, which wasn't a surprise. It was 6 a.m. because we were all going to Birmingham. And my sister said to me, I've been in hospital all evening, can't come to Birmingham. I said, what's wrong? She says, Mum's not doing well at all, and the doctors have said that she's got a brain tumour. That was just sickening, like so sick, like just felt like I couldn't feel my arms, my legs. I felt so sick. I said, what do you mean? I said, they don't know much about it yet, but it's not looking great. So then, anyway, they got all the information. They drove back home. I went to see my mum. She's sitting on the sofa. And I looked at her and I said, I'm going to take a picture of you, Mum. And I took a picture of her in that moment. And they said that they'd given her this 8 weeks to live. That was hard, the worst. Because 8 weeks is just such a short amount of time. And I was like, no, we don't have, this is not the time. So I went into, right, let's just, it can't be 8 weeks, there's got to be a solution. And me being me, I'm like, we will go to every doctor and we will figure this out. And I just felt like I had no control, none. I'm not the oldest in the family. I'm not like the one that people listen to much. I'm the one in the family that's, the dancer. And I've got older brothers and sisters, and everyone else is more grown up. So I didn't have anything, and it was hard. Anyway, my lesson I learned was that when she passed, it was so painful, and I made a promise. I'm not going to be afraid of anything anymore, because there's nothing more scary than that moment. Like standing on stage in front of 1,000 people, going in the clubhouse room and talking, speaking, like nothing is scary as that moment. So what I learned from it is that we all get a birth certificate when we're born. Nobody tells us when we're going to die. Nobody knows when they're dying. So between when we are born to when we die, this is our time. So I refuse to be scared. I refuse to surround myself with people who don't make me feel good. I refuse to reduce myself. I refuse to not speak up. I stick by my values. I am fearless. So my biggest lesson from losing my mum is that I don't have time to be afraid. I am here to do great work, and nobody's getting in my way. And I will not put up with no shit from nobody. I will not allow people to undermine me, take the mick out of me, tell me I can't do things, put me in places that I don't agree with. I will never, ever let anyone ever hold me back. So that's why I speak up, I stand up, I show up, because I am not leaving this earth unfinished. I am on a race to change the world in the best way I can, which is why I make decisions like this, because I am not going to overthink so much that I wake up one day or don't wake up one day and it's over. And I teach my children that. My children know about death. I tell them every day, say, thank God I woke up today. Every day when I walk into my children's room, I say, what are we going to say? I'm so grateful I woke up today. I said, yeah, because some people didn't wake up today, darlings. I literally, and my children, we talk about death all the time. They lost their nanny. Their nanny was their everything. They lost this woman who loved them. My children had to tell them their nana died. That was the worst thing. And they said to me, why didn't you take me to see nanny? I didn't take them to see their nanny because all the grown-ups around me told me I shouldn't. Once again, listen to other people. I should have took them. So I'm living with the guilt that didn't get so I won't, anything I do now, I do it because it feels right. I don't listen to other people. Unless they have been where I want to be and I trust them implicitly. That's why I said in the Winners Club, I got on the bus. The bus started going somewhere I didn't like. I got off the bus. No explanation. I do not do things that don't serve what I believe. Now, that's not to say that I'm always right, but I refuse to go on that road in a direction where I don't know where it's taking me, because I've got things to do. So the biggest lesson is people die, people leave us. And we have to the world keeps moving. So we have to keep moving. And we can't keep stopping because we're afraid of what other people might say, or if we look silly, or if people criticize us. I don't care. I honestly don't care I really don't care what people have to say about me. If you're not with me and you don't believe in me, then I don't care. Carry on doing your life, because on my deathbed, those people are not going to be around me. They're not even going to know that I've passed probably for at least 24 hours before, someone posts about it. So I don't care. And neither should anyone. We shouldn't care what other people who aren't with us, who aren't cheering for us. That's why I've dedicated myself to be a cheerleader for people like you, Ryan. I cheer for people because I know what it feels like to have someone cheering for you. My mum cheered for me every day of my life. My mum chose me. My mum believed in me. My mum cheered for me. And that is what I can do. I can take that part of my mum and I can cheer for others. I love cheering for people because I feel like it's my mum through me. I'm like, go on, Ryan, you can do it. I'm a cheerleader. I will cheer, cheer, cheer. But at the same time, no one will take the piss out of me. As much as I'm smiley and iffy, no one takes the piss out of me ever, because I won't allow it. So I've got a little sting. My mum was a Scorpio, and they say Scorpios have a sting. I've got my mum's sting. Since she passed away, my mum had a sting. She's a Scorpio. Her sting is what I've taken away from the pain of losing her. I have that sting that she had. Like, I can sting now. Like, I will sting you.
I'm lost for words, Iffy. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for being your true, authentic, genuine self, because that takes a lot for someone to come on and just be their self. Like, not many people would do that. So I just want to say thank you, and everyone else in the chat did as well. So thank you so much for sharing that with us about your mum there, because I could only just imagine, say, from your perspective, your point of view, what that must have felt like. But I made a quote up and it says, sometimes your most profound periods of pain can also turn out to be your greatest gifts of growth. And you have to grow through what you go through. And that sounds iffy. That's what you've done. You've grown through what you've gone through. So just as you mentioned, like you mentioned about the birth and the death certificate, like I've used that a few times because I think that's so, so good. Like in life, not many things are 100% guaranteed, but two things are: we are all born and we will all die. But it's what we do with the opportunity between these two events that really matter most. So let the reality of death put urgency into living your life today, because if you mentioned it, we don't have time. We don't have time. People feel like they're just existing, believing that tomorrow is guaranteed. They feel like they're guaranteed to open their eyes tomorrow. That's not the truth at all. Like, somebody asked me to do a write-up. It's not a podcast. It was a write-up. And I've got a lot going on at the moment, but I had a bit of spare time earlier. So I sat down for about an hour and a half, and it's a 3.5-page write-up. And they wanted to know a bit about my journey. My journey is about a 30-page write-up minimum. So I thought, I know what I do. I focus solely on the traumatic brain injury side of it. When I was in hospital on my deathbed, and I'm doing the write-up and I'm writing about my journey, what I remember, a bit about my parents, because obviously I had to speak a lot from my parents' point of view, from what they've told me, because I wasn't, say, awake when they told me what was going on. And then I got to the end part, which I finished it off on. And earlier, and this isn't a word of a lie, I haven't even told my parents, they're downstairs. I sat here and I started crying. I really started crying. You know why? Because so many people are just believing that tomorrow is guaranteed. Like they're thinking they're going to wake up tomorrow. Just imagine this. You leave the door, you leave your house, and you say, see you later, to your mum, to your dad, to your brother, sister, girlfriend, boyfriend. See you later. Is that guaranteed? No, it's not. It's not guaranteed at all. And those doctors, like that teacher that said to your son, he's never going to be able to do this. Those doctors said to me, about me, pull that plug on that boy. Put the plug on his life, because he is never, ever going to wake up. That boy will never wake up. But my dad said no. My dad said no fucking way. And by my dad doing that, that's the reason why I'm here today, because my dad said no. But sadly, my parents met families of loved ones, brothers, sisters, child's, it could be a son or daughter in exactly the same position as me in that intensive care unit. And they listen to the advice of the specialists. Because that's what we do in life, right? If you want your car fixed, you go and see a mechanic. If you want your radiator fixed, you go and see a plumber. If you want you fixed, you go and see a doctor. Because they know what's best, surely. But those loved ones listen to the advice of those specialists, of those doctors. And ultimately, their loved ones died. So please believe me when I say this, that no doctor can put a definite deadline on your dreaded day of demise. Doctors are amazing. They saved my life. But a doctor can only advise you on what they've learned from a book and from their experience. But we as humans are all individuals. We're all different. We're all wired different. No one is the same. We're all unique. So don't ever let someone tell you that you can never do something. They said that I would never wake up. And then they changed their mind to he would never walk or talk again if he ever woke up. I'm here. I'm sharing my journey. But imagine that if my parents would have said, oh, just go on then. They're the specialists. They know what's right. If they would have said, just do it, pull that plug. That's a waste of a life. But I've noticed that so many people are just existing. They're believing that they're going to wake up tomorrow. They're living their life and they've already pulled the plug unconsciously on their life. Like Benjamin Franklin said it the best. So many people die at 25 but aren't buried until 75. They're just existing, waking up, doing exactly the same thing day after day after day. You can't do that. You can't go through life living the same old shit every single day. You need to get up and go after what you really want in life. Because at one point, you're not going to be here. It's going to be the last day and you're not going to realise it until it's too late. So Iffy, thank you so, so much for sharing that about your mum. And I can tell you now, like from what you just said there, how it impacted me. You've grown through that experience. As much as it was painful, you've grown as a person. And I love what you said, like you don't take shit from no one and you've got that sting in you now. You've got a sting and you're going to sting those vampires, those energy vampires. You're going to sting them. So Iffy, thank you so, so much. It's going to lead me on to the final question because I know we've been on here for so long. I could speak for another hour, to be fair. So I just want to ask you, Iffy, to finish this up is, knowing what you know now, what one piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
Great question. I'd go back and speak to little 9-year-old Iffy and say, do it your way. Do it your way. Trust yourself. I never trusted myself. I always trusted everyone else, like you said, with the doctors. But I think I've always known. I've always had this deep knowing that I am here to do something great. But I just couldn't work out what it is. So I'd go back and say, Iffy, just so you know, it's going to be okay. It is going to be okay. Because I always used to wish that I was 40. I used to watch Sex and the City with my sister. And they were like 40 at the time. And I used to think, oh, I can't wait until I'm 40. Because when I'm 40, I won't have to deal with this shit. I hated being a teenager. I hated being a child. When I say hate, not that I didn't have a good childhood, I mean, I always felt so uncomfortable in my own skin. And I just thought, when I'm 40, I'm going to be the boss of my life. I'm not 40 yet, I will be in a couple of years, but I was always looking forward to becoming an adult and being able to do things my way. And I think if I was to go back to my younger self, I'd say, Iffy, everything's going to be okay. You are going to crush it in your adult life. And it is going to get better as you get older. And do it your way. Trust yourself. I promise you, what you think and believe, you've got to trust. And that's where I lacked. I didn't trust myself. I always would just think everyone else knew better. But now I trust myself, which means I don't have anxiety. I don't have depression. I love myself. I trust myself. I know that I can cope with whatever life throws at me, no matter how bad it gets. I know I can make it. I just know I can. I wish I knew then.
Wow. Wow. Um, Brilliant. Like what you said there, like you wanted to be 40 as was it a 9-year-old? You wanted to be 40 years old. Like, just know that today is the oldest that you have ever been, but the youngest that you'll ever be. So
Yeah.
don't ever wish your life away. And like it reminded me then as well, like I'll be happy when. Like, you're just thinking, yeah, I just want to be 40 because like all these worries will go away when I'm 40. Like I'll be happy when. So many people are living their lives thinking I'm going to be happy when. I'm going to be
When
happy
I
when
win
I
the
win the
lottery.
lottery, when I win the lottery, when I get that car, when I get the watch, the job, the partner. Don't ever don't ever wait for your happiness. Your happiness isn't in the future. Your happiness is now. The only time we ever have is now. So don't wait for happiness to come. Be happy in this moment. Be grateful for everything you got. And I'll tell you what, if you can't think of anything to be grateful for, be grateful for life. Like Iffy, like you mentioned it, I do it religiously every morning and every night. Before I close my eyes, I say thank you. And as soon as I open my eyes, I say thank you. Because again, not going into my story too much, but when I was really deep and depressed, I used to wake up every single day and I used to scream the words, fuck you. I used to scream it in that bedroom when I literally wanted to take my life. But then I replaced that with thank you. Because we all open two gifts every single day, and that is our eyes. And that's why they call this moment the present. So Iffy, thank you so much for coming on today. I've really enjoyed
Thank
this
you.
episode. It's so good. I can't wait to listen back to it. So Iffy, how can anybody, if someone say taken away anything from what you said today, which I know they would have, how can somebody say follow your journey, connect with you, and support you in any way at all?
Great. Thank you so much, Ryan. I would say click on the like little arrow and follow me if you're not. And then if you DM me the word life, LIFE, I'll send you access to my online course for free. And it has all of my nuggets and goodies on how to really like power lift your life, so that you can really take on board the steps that I've followed that have helped me to get where I am.
That's amazing. Iffy, do you want to tell us about this as well? Because I've got one myself.
Yay! The confidence star. Oh, I'd love you to do a video, Ryan, of you and the confidence star.
Yeah, I could do a video.
So this is the confidence star. This is a display one, but the confidence star is a star-shaped mirror, and it has these reflective words on it that say, I am somebody, I am good enough, I can do anything, I like myself. And these words I put together on the star to build confidence in my son. I wanted him to believe in himself because the statistics were that a person with autism is 28 times more likely to take their own life. A person with autism, 9 out of 10 of them suffer depression and anxiety. The stats were against him. So I thought, well, what can I do to counterbalance those stats? So I created the confidence star. So on my Instagram, I have a shop. We've got more stars in. You can get one of these and you put it on the wall. And every day you look into the star and you say, I am somebody, I am good enough. I like myself. And when you say that, what it does is it builds that layer of confidence and self-esteem, and your subconscious mind absorbs those words. Because it works like an internal hug. It's like you've got like your internal guard, you've guarding your mind, and absolutely it's made massive difference, not just in children, in adults. They're in schools, homes, hotels, police stations, hospitals. They're in Australia, America, Canada, Somalia, France. They're all over the world. And my goal is to have one in every single home, and for people to use it daily, like the same level. You brush your teeth every day, you look into the confidence star every day. That's my goal. That's the mission I'm on, Ryan. I'm getting a star in every single frigging home, so we can reduce mental health and get people to really like and love themselves.
Oh, Iffy, I love it so much. And yeah, guys, if you haven't done so already, go over to Iffy's page, give her a follow, and go and get one of her stars. Because just remember, it's about repetition. And if you speak that into your life every single day, like I say, I made a quote that says, you become what you both consciously and unconsciously consistently consume. Because think of it this way, your mind is like a factory, and the ingredients that you are putting into it will be used to make the final product, which is your life. So get over there, get yourself a star, and give Iffy a follow. Iffy, thank you so much for that today. Thank you everybody for coming on. I've really enjoyed this episode, the longest one yet as well.
Is it? Well, you've got two chat boxes. That's why me and you together. My phone's literally running out of battery. It's like, you were supposed to be on this. But
Yeah, the
Ryan,
bells are ringing.
they are ringing. Thank you, Ryan, so much. Really appreciate you. And, you know, I really have my eyes set on you for the next generation. I really, truly believe that I can't share my message to, my message will reach the people who resonate with me, but your message will reach the people that resonate with you. And like I said, we've got a pandemic coming up. A mental health pandemic is coming. There is a wave. So you, I feel, need to be on the front line and out there sharing your story with as many young people as possible so that they can grab hold of their life, because the world needs you, Ryan. The world truly needs you. And there are people who are waiting to hear your message. So keep showing up and serve those people who need to hear from you. I'm excited.
Thank you, Iffy. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your kind words and feedback. And yeah, no, I'm excited too, you know, because I've seen it. I've seen it in here. So whatever comes in here, it's going to come out there. So thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for your amazing comments. Sorry, I haven't been able to reply to all of you here, but thank you so much. Go and watch this back. Show your friends, show your family, show your children as well if you've got children. But guys, thank you. Iffy, sorry, because we kept her so long. Thank you, everyone. I'm off, and we'll see you on the other side.